items that we need to cover for today's class includes the following. Developing supporting ideas. Where do we write these supporting ideas? Where? Exercise on page 18, exercise 6. The items that we need to cover for today's class includes the following. Developing supporting ideas. Where do we write these supporting ideas? Where? In the body paragraphs. How many body paragraphs are we supposed to develop for that essay? 3. Plus the introduction, of course, and the conclusion. Perfect. Why am I stressing the fact that there's a way, actually more than one way of developing our supporting ideas? Because usually students come up with brilliant topic sentences and they fail to develop these topic sentences. What is the topic sentence? What is a topic sentence? It's the main idea that captures the purpose and the idea of that specific body paragraph. Is it related in a way or another to the thesis statement? Yes, did we hear about the word thesis statement before? What is the thesis statement? The first sentence in the introduction. Is she right? Is the thesis statement the first sentence in the introduction? No. What do we call the first sentence in the introduction? The hook. Where was the thesis statement? The last sentence or 2 sentences of your introduction. What's the function of that sentence? It's a very key function. And yes, we get the general idea of the exactly. It prepares the reader of what is he going to read about later on when he starts reading the body paragraphs. So it summarizes, it captures, okay, the ideas of the body paragraphs. And if you remember the one that we used last time to explain this, was following chronologically, was following the order. Remember? The essay on academic writing. The student was saying that we needed to change the content, work on the grammar, and work on the vocabulary, and later on we found that the body paragraphs are following the same order of enumeration that we got in the thesis statement, right? So there are ways to support our topic sentences. Of course, at the end of each body paragraph, there's what we call a concluding sentence. What's the meaning of a concluding sentence? It's the last sentence of that paragraph. It has either of one function. One of 2 functions that we are going to discuss today in our class. We're discussing essay unity and coherence, okay? And with that point, when we discuss essay unity and coherence, we're not talking about the content only, but we're talking about grammar, paragraph structure, how to avoid fragmentation and grammar. So with this part in mind, we're not talking about content. We're talking about language as well. If you remember last time, we were discussing how important or the importance of the language, because the language is the carrier. The means that you use to communicate your ideas. So if the method is corrupted, i.e., if the grammar is not well, as you could see in last time's essay, so definitely you will not communicate or transfer a clear message to your reader. It will be a misleading or off-point message, right? Last, we will discuss tips of editing your essay. Let me remind you or focus or stress one simple fact. Unit 1 is a key unit. Why? Because it captures all the principles, all the key issues that we need to discuss and build on further to come up with any type of essay. Later on, I mean, when we go to other individual units, we will find ourselves discussing types of essays. But Unit 1 is like a pillar. It's like the key concepts that we need to rely on in order to develop any further type of essay. Okay? Now let's look together to Are you familiar with that? Yes? Yes or no? What is this? What is this? It's the essay that we used as a model last time, and you could see and you could identify different types of sentences. That's why we colored them, right? Again, what's the first one? The hook. And what are these next sentences? Background sentences. Let me clarify this. Some students are mixed up between the thesis statement, the hook, and the background sentences. Can somebody clarify the difference between the three? What is the difference between the background sentences? I repeat, background sentences, not one sentence. I do not have a well-written introduction comprised of a hook, one background sentence, and a thesis statement. Again, as I always say, treat the introduction and your conclusion as very important paragraphs. Alright? And last time we discussed the lack of well-proportioned paragraphs. And this sets a very negative image about the way you could develop your ideas. Right? What's the difference between a thesis statement, for example, and background sentences? What is the difference? Yes?
Background sentences are sentences that give us, the readers, a background information about the topic.
Yes, background information about the topic. I.e., when we were discussing, for example, when we were discussing the topic, the central essay that we're using since last time and we're using today is the essay written by the student on how he developed his academic writing skills, right? It was a must for him to highlight the importance of academic writing. He did not give any details. He just stated the fact that academic writing is a tradition, a very important tradition used in universities or at universities, and it is highly appreciated by professors because usually professors request students to write papers, to write research work, and so on and so forth. So that's the background. There are no details at that level whatsoever. Where do we spare the details for? In the body paragraphs, exactly, okay? But when it comes to the thesis statement, which is highlighted in green, right? Yes, he said specifically, accurately, and to the point. In order to achieve that high level of academic writing, he had to undertake 3 steps, right? What's the first step? Content, to polish the content or to work on the content of the essay. Grammar and vocab. Each of these points is going to be elaborately discussed in one individual body paragraph, right? Okay, remember, that was a general overview. Our focus is how did he develop his supporting ideas? Are there different ways of developing or putting supporting ideas that support the topic sentence? What do you think? Are there different methods of developing your supporting ideas? Yes? Of developing your supporting ideas? Yet how can I develop them? Can I write statistics? Yes? No? Yes? One way is to write statistics. One other way is to provide your own personal experience. Another word is anecdote. And we found the student or the writer of that essay in individual body paragraphs contrasting, remember? Contrasting his very personal experience in writing emails and unprofessional, unscholarly pieces of writing to the academic writing. So one way is to use statistics, one other way is to use personal anecdote or personal experience. Another way is what? To give examples, thank you very much. Or to compare and contrast, right? Okay? Now, we are exploring together how did he support his individual topic sentences. And I'm not discussing body paragraph 2. My main concern is in body paragraph is with body paragraph 1 and 3. Okay? Let's have a look. It's on page 5 in your book. Please turn to page 5 in your book. Tell me, what are the ways he used in body paragraph 1 to elaborate and to develop and to give his supporting ideas? You have 2 minutes. Body paragraph 1. Yes, are we done with reading only body paragraph 1, right? Can we form an opinion about the way he developed his supporting ideas? Yes, can we? Through his personal experience. He described his personal experience, and actually he did not describe it, he contrasted. He compared and contrasted between his personal experience, writing or coming up with letters for family and friends and so on, and the disciplined academic writing that follows rules of grammar, enriching your essay with vocabulary, avoiding repetition, avoiding content repetition, and so on and so forth, right? So he used his personal experience and he compared between the 2 ways of writing, right? Now let's have a look at the very last sentence of the essay, the paragraph. Let's have a look at the very last sentence. Look at it. By giving specific examples, I realized that my essays became more detailed, easier to read, and much more interesting. However, grammatical problems in my writing were still an issue. Oh, that's not good. صح. That's an off-point sentence, right? Why is he discussing grammar? All my patterns about what? What is the main focus? Content, thank you very much. The main focus in the idea discussed in that specific body paragraph is how to develop and work on the content, right? Why is he mentioning grammar? Yes? So he's preparing the reader. He is achieving that transition. He's saying, so the next paragraph is about so and so and so. So the function of the concluding sentence of the body paragraph, the function of the concluding sentence of the body paragraph is the function of the concluding sentence. Either it brings the idea of the paragraph to a closure. Do you know what people are closure? That's it. Plus. It's the end of the paragraph, and this is the last word. You know the meaning of the word? This is the last supporting idea that I mentioned concerning that specific idea of the topic discussed in that topic sentence or in that paragraph. Or it gives an idea to the reader to suggest what will be the content of the next paragraph. Is that what the writer did beside this? Yes. word body paragraph. Okay? Now, we all agreed last time that the topic sentence for that body paragraph was not to be found at the beginning of the paragraph as the usual case. صح? Why? Is that correct or not? It is correct. So why is he postponing the focus? I keep repeating. The focus. The main idea discussed in that paragraph to the middle or even sometimes till the end of the paragraph. Why? Why? Is it a correct approach or not?
It's not correct.
It's not correct. Why do you say so?
Because it's not systematic, it's not what we're used to. We're used to seeing the whole body paragraph in the first, the whole topic sentence on the first.
In the first, so that you don't mislead the reader. But let me tell you something. The writer is writing about academic writing style, right? So he needed to show you examples of how to enrich your style. If you follow consistently the same approach of having the topic sentence, which is recommended, by the way, I recommend that you place the topic sentence at the upfront, at the opening of your body paragraph, so that your reader will not be lost somewhere looking for what the hell is the focus of that paragraph, صح? But he wants to enrich his style and show you his skill as a writer. But how did I know that this sentence, how did I pinpoint it? How did I know that this sentence, highlighted in velvet, is the topic sentence? It echoes back, it echoes the last item mentioned in the thesis. It says, I soon realized that academic writing required a much more sophisticated vocabulary, and that was the last item discussed in the thesis statement. Content, grammar, and vocabulary. How about the beginning and the middle? Look at it and tell me, how did he develop? There are two things I want you to do with this paragraph. What is the method of developing his supporting ideas? Is he using statistics, examples, comparison or contrast, personal anecdote, whatever? And tell me as well if there is a concluding sentence in that paragraph or not. You have 2 minutes. I assume that you're done, right? Okay. What is the method of developing his supporting ideas? Did he use statistics? No. Did he use quotations? No. What did he use? Personal experience, right? He talked about buying a thesaurus or a dictionary to help him work on enriching his vocabulary. I'm very much interested in that. Do you know how many important I see in individual essays? يعني when a student wants to highlight the importance of that topic that is being discussed and handled and tackled, I find on average 15 important. 15, okay? I find 3 in the introduction and the rest are scattered all across the essay. Though, if you have a thesaurus, if you can replace that word important with a word like major, crucial, critical sometimes, and all the other synonyms for the word important, or even use the antonym. Like saying this topic or this issue cannot be ignored. Do you understand? By that you're verifying on your side, and you don't cause boredom to your reader. More to this point is that I feel that you have a style as a writer, right? So he used personal anecdote. That's why you could hear the pronoun I all the time repeated in that paragraph, صح? Is that correct or not? Correct? Yeah, correct. Didn't we agree last time that academic writing is not personal?
Yes.
So how do you assess this paragraph? Do you feel that it's okay or not? It is okay? Why? This is an academic piece of writing. Why is it okay?
This is his journey.
It's not.
Bushra.
It's not making it worse. It's actually making it better. He's enriching the essay with his experience. It's he's not focusing on himself. He's focusing on what he did.
On the process itself, you mean. But remember, I told you that when you are writing an opinion essay, right? I.e., you're talking about your beliefs, what you did, what you prepared yourself for. It's permissible to use I. Though, still, I do believe that the same sentence could be said without I, right? But because he's talking about something that he did, a process that he carried out and so on. Thank you very much. Now, the second thing, I asked you to highlight or to underline the concluding sentence. Remember the function of a concluding sentence in a one paragraph. What are the two functions? Either or. It either suggests the main idea for the next paragraph, or it brings the ideas discussed in that paragraph to a closure. صح? Do we have any preparation of any sort here? Why? Class, it's over. This is the end of the paragraphs, the body paragraphs. No more new ideas to be discussed because I am heading for my conclusion, right? Okay. So actually, where is it? Where does it start? I also focus more on the rules of spelling and corrected any errors I found before submitting my assignment to the instructor. That's an off-point sentence, isn't it? That's an off-point sentence. We're discussing vocabulary. What does spelling or anything, your math, have to do with the vocabulary? Do you agree or not? That's an off-point sentence, Yes or no?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Do you really?
No.
No? Yes or no?
No.
It's not off point? Why? Why do you think it's not off point? The people who say, it's off point, come on, voice your concern. Go ahead. It's not off point. Why?
Because it's still academic writing. It's still talking about the
Vocabulary item
yeah.
has to be spelled correctly. So it's not off point, right? Okay. Does it prepare the reader in any way for the upcoming paragraph? No, right? No. So it really brings the idea to a closure. Before I leave this body paragraph, I highlighted something in red. Either. What is this? AD furthermore, AD nevertheless, A like a second on priority, A words like next. What is this? What do we call them? What do we call them? We call them this. AD. You're joining. If I highlighted that in the middle of a sentence or in the middle of a main clause and a subordinate clause, like what we're going to see in a minute. But this is at the beginning of a paragraph. So, what do we call it? Thank you very much. Transition words. You know the meaning of transition? يعني Yes, it prepares the reader and it enriches your style, right? And it depends on the nature of the topic that you're discussing, right? He said furthermore, he could have replaced it with moreover, in addition to why, because he is still in the process of enumerating what are the steps he carried out in order to come up with a good piece of academic writing. Exactly. I love these transition words, and it should be part of your style. And it depends. Sometimes we use transition words of contrast, like whereas, on the contrary, on the other hand, right? Sometimes we use transition of compare and contrast, however, right? Sometimes we use something of reasoning, because, as a result, right? Sometimes for addition, like what he did here, furthermore, in addition, further, okay? Now it's time to examine the concluding paragraph. Personally speaking, I have an objection on the concluding paragraph, but tell me why do I have this objection? Personally speaking, yes, Idala. Mona, sorry.
Because it's not all systematic, it's too tiny.
It's too small, right? It's too small, right? Remember last time we said that it had, the paragraphs have to be well proportioned. A student might say, do you want me to come up with a conclusion as big as this body paragraph, or as big as the second or the first? No, but at least it won't be that short, right? That's my main concern. I want you to treat the conclusion as a very important, because usually people remember last things. Do you remember that? Yes? Now what's the function of a conclusion? Tell me, what's the function of a conclusion? Why do we bother ourselves to write a conclusion anyway? Why? To sum up the ideas. Which ideas? The main ideas. Which main ideas? The function of a conclusion is the following. First, top priority mainly is what? Oops. Restating the thesis statement. I will take my thesis statement as is and I put it as a copy. صح? Why? Why did he say restating?
To remind.
It's saying, reminding the reader of the thesis statement again by saying it, but using different wording. Let's examine that. I'll go to the essay itself. Academic writing requires critical thinking skills and understanding of the topic, high level vocabulary, and correct grammar. Does that in a way echoes back the thesis statement that was mentioned in the introduction? Yes? Yes, it has the three most important items discussed individually in body paragraphs. First, the topic, which has to do with the content, grammar, and vocabulary. So he passed the first item on the checklist. First sentence of your conclusion has to retell the reader in different wording or using different wording what you have already mentioned and discussed in your exactly. So what is another function of your conclusion? Another function of your conclusion is giving advice or a warning. Now, I need to highlight one thing. Some students get mixed up. They forget an idea. This idea should have been mentioned either in body paragraph 1 or 2 or 3. They forget it, and then they find themselves all of a sudden in need to bring the whole essay into a closure, and they insert that idea in the conclusion. Is that correct or not? No. The conclusion is by no means a place to surprise your reader. Hey, I forgot this. No. طيب ما هو انت بتقولي لي I have to give an advice or a warning. Isn't that new? Do you know the meaning of a past passing a judgment. Do you know the meaning of passing a judgment? يعني ايه passing a judgment? You drop your own point of view. That point of view could play the form of an advice. Students or university students have to take extra care of their writing skills. Isn't that an opinion? Isn't that some sort of an advice? I will turn it into a word. If students, if university students do not take their academic writing as seriously as it should be, their grades will be higher. What is that? A warning. A warning. And still, when I voiced my advice or my warning, the two of them were giving my opinion. So we'll check whether the concluding sentence had or had or included a warning or some sort of an advice. That's how we have the first step. How these skills is empowering. Since it has made me a better communicator and student. What do you think? What is that? He passed on his. Was that an advice? Was that a warning? He dropped an opinion. As for me, when I polished or mastered these three skills, it was an empowering thing for me. So he dropped his opinion derived from his personal experience working on these three skills. صح? Let's see the third function, whether it is available in the body paragraph or not. Making the prediction or asking the question. What's the meaning of a prediction? An expectation that something would happen. Like saying, for example, if you don't do this, something would happen instead. So if I say, if you don't take care of your academic writing course, your grades will be affected and your responses to individual questions and the core subjects will be affected as well. That's some sort of a prediction in a form of warning as well. صح? Did he do something of that sort? We will see. Providing new insights or discoveries that the writer has gained through writing the essay. That's what he did. In a way, when he said it was empowering, صح? When he said that mastering these three skills or working on the three areas of content, grammar, and vocabulary, that was empowering. That's an insight, right? That's some sort of an opinion, an insight that he wanted to communicate in order to provide you with the results of his experience, right? Let's have a look at the last sentence. I have come a long way since I started college, and I'm now proud of the writing that I produced. How can we label this sentence? How can we label which function of the number four? I have come a long way. That's an insight, as if you are giving the overall net result of your experience, okay? Informing a sentence about your writing, all right? So, the function of the conclusion. First, it restates your, it somehow recaps the main ideas that you discussed in each body paragraph, right? And it does what else? It drops a way of judgment. Whether that way of judgment is a personal opinion or a warning or an advice or an insight or specific discovery, right? That you discovered that you were too weak and you had to work on these three areas because this was inevitable. All right? Okay. I will not tell you what is the thing that we're going to work on, but you will discover that and we will deduce this from on page 12 in your book. Can you see that paragraph that starts at the bottom of page 12 and runs to the top and middle of page 13? At the very beginning of that paragraph, I mean at the bottom of page 12, one sentence is crossed out for you. صح؟ Why do you think the sentence is crossed out? It's off point, or off topic. What's the meaning of off point? I need that a lot.
Related to the whole idea.
It's not related to that specifically discussed idea, right? How is that affecting your essay? How is that affecting your essay? It weakens your essay. Do you remember the spiral that we were discussing last time, right? Yeah, and you started talking about a specific movie. You are explaining to your friend how good was the movie that you watched last week, okay? And then all of a sudden, you discuss the movie industries, okay? That's off point. Though, apparently speaking, you're talking about movies, but still this is an off-point thing. Why? Because you're talking about a specific movie, and you jumped, you leapt. You did not prepare your listener, or in our case, your reader, to the fact that the movie industry will be discussed. Though that word, that buzzing word, the word movie is repeated, still they are off point, right? And this is where the unity of your essay is affected. You know the meaning of unity? يعني إيه an essay has unity? يعني إيه an essay has unity?
Doesn't have any overlapping sentences.
The ideas discuss the same focus, i.e. the same main idea. The supporting ideas discuss and elaborate and support the same idea. There are no off-point. You're not diverting. You're not deviating from the main focus, okay? Now, I want you to do this together. I want you to work in pairs. Two brains are better than one. The first sentence is crossed out for you because he shows you an example of that's an off-point sentence and it affects the unity of your essay, okay? Now I want you to work in pairs and cross out the sentences that you feel off-point. You have 3 minutes, work in pairs. Choose a partner, work in pairs. Can you come and join this young lady or this young lady? You have 2 minutes. Confused or did not decide or has not decided on the ideas or the sentences that need to be crossed out, okay? I will read it with you. Stop me when you feel that this is an off-point sentence, okay? Having my friends and family together at my wedding was an amazing experience. I had not seen some of my uncles, cousins, and aunts for many years, correct? Yes? He's talking about the family gathering, so it's natural to talk about the fact that he misses his aunts. Nothing wrong so far, right? My cousin Tom lives in London when he works as an engineer. Why did he cross it out? I don't need to know the history of each individual member of your family. صح? Okay. Both my mother and father were born in different countries, so my relatives are scattered all over the world. Cross it out? Cross it out? Raise your hand. Yes, I will cross it out. Ahmed, you're saying no. Defend your point. اوعى ترجع في كلامك. You said no. Exactly. It's not an off point because it completes the previous idea. I have not seen my cousins or my relatives for quite some time. Leave because my father and mother belong to two different countries. That's why all the relatives are scattered. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you for defending your opinion. All right. I really like traveling, and this is glaring, crystal clear of point. We're not in a position to discuss your passion about traveling. خالص صح? So I really like traveling and have been to Europe and Asia. Let's cross that out. Can you see? Imagine I get to read sentences that are totally off point and affect your essays. Unity, because they are not related. You fill in, okay? But they are not related ideas. Although we try to get together for important occasions, this was the first time everyone could attend. Off point, صح? Off point. No, please. Very much to the point, it continues. It continues, that's what we call unity. Each idea is built and develops out of the previous one, okay? Most importantly, my good friends had never met my relatives. I should cross it out. No, why? Any wedding in life had friends and family. And he's talking about the fact that none of his friends had the opportunity to meet with any family member because still they are scattered. You see? Each idea builds on the other. Okay? Developing good friends is this one, and I'm not sure. Developing good friendship takes a lot of work. It's not related at all. It's not about traveling, the first sentence that we crossed out, and definitely the paragraph is not about friendship. Thank you very much. Watching them all dancing, laughing, and having a wonderful time will stay in my memory forever. Question? No. It's okay? Should we leave it? We're not in a position to discuss his memory. What do you think? What do you think? Why is he on earth discussing his memory?
Because it's a memory about the wedding.
It's a memory about the wedding and memory about the people who contribute and make that wedding a pleasant experience for everybody. So I should leave it. Are you sure?
Yes.
Mish. The band we hired played, that's another paragraph. That's another paragraph. And apparently he's talking about the band that they had to play music for the wedding. The band we hired played music that the guests loved and we danced for hours. Should I keep it?
Yes.
That's apparently a topic sentence of the paragraph. The two paragraphs pour into or fall under the overall umbrella of having the wedding among friends and family. Thank you very much. My original guest list had overdone. لا خالص صح؟ Off point. Very crystal clear صح? I don't care about the list of guests صح? So I will delete, I will cross out. You all agree? Yes? My original guest list, delete this. Had over 200 people, but I had to cut it down to 150. Cross this out. It was difficult to find a group that could play all the diverse styles that I wanted at the wedding. لا, deleted. Cross it out? No. Why? I don't feel that it fits. Does it? It does fine.
Because not everyone has the same style of making music.
He's still talking about the band. He's talking about his experience finding a band that could play different styles of music, and it's not a point, huh? Alright. Most bands specialize in one or two different kinds of music. Most bands specialize in one or two different kinds of music. Of point, it goes. Some of you says it's off point, some others say not. How would I judge? When you judge something in a context, you have to read in context. I.e., you have to read before and after. Also, the sentence that is immediately behind it is however. However, where am I? However, these musicians reading you all types of music from 1940s, jazz and swing, to salsa, merengue, and even hip hop. What do you think? It's not really crystal clear or glaring off point, but by the way, however, goes back to the one sentence before it. Yes, it contradicts two facts, okay? Right? However, these musicians really knew all types of music from 1940s jazz and swing, salsa, hip hop, and so on. My brother was. Well, I don't care whether your brother or your father even danced before, صح? I don't care. So let's cross this sentence out. Let's start with my brother. In short, there was music to suit everyone's taste. Related. And I love it. I love this sentence because in short, to sum up, in conclusion, these are transition words that shows that I am doing what? Closing. Brings the issue or the idea to a closure, right? What we call flag or transition flag. I am waving with the flag, behold, I am concluding, okay? In short, there was music to suit everyone's taste. I love the singer's dress. It was totally off point, right? Totally off point and unrelated, right? Should I keep it or not? No. Okay. And it was incredible. Should I keep it was incredible or not?
No. What does it refer to?
It refers to the dress of the singer. No, I should not keep it. Do you agree? Okay. Last sentence. Even my grandparents danced only. I don't care. It refers to what? To the guests. And it relates to the main focus of the body paragraph that we're discussing family, friends, entertained by the band. You passed, guys. You passed. Great. Now let's move on to something related to unity that affects the essay. Unity and coherence. I don't understand it. If unity has to do with how ideas relate and how ideas support each other in an essay. Okay, well, do you remember? We were crossing out the sentences that do not fit because I don't think that there is a logical development of these ideas and these ideas. And this fit because it does not fit the logical order of the word as such. So what is that word about the ignorance? I don't understand it. Look at this. Coherence can be achieved in an essay by the use of many transition expressions. Like what? However, do you remember that we had at the beginning of the pattern? What's the pattern? What are the values of these transition words? What do they affect? How do they affect the essay? Transition. I am acting a word.
Moving from one sentence to another in an integrated way, and it's not different.
Yes, a smooth transit, a smooth move. And to that smooth move, I am preparing the mind of the reader to absorb and get ready and get prepared for that coming idea, right? So, so unity has to do with yes, definitely. In a way that you cannot really discriminate, because we see the thin red line between the two of them. Actually, coherence, listen! Actually, coherence leads to unity. We will see how. So, coherence is achieved through the use of transition expressions like, however, I assess the kind of relation that my sentences have, alright? And based on that, I choose the proper transition words. If I am adding, I will use transitions of addition, like furthermore, further, in addition to that, more and moreover, and Bella and Galila, right? And if I have as a result of that, and so on. Okay? Also, coherence is achieved through logical order. يعني إيه logical order? We will see that crystal clear when we discuss our first type of essays, which is called process analysis. If I ask any one of you, what are the steps of making a cake? You know the meaning of making a cake? It has certain specific steps, right? So we have to follow a logical order, otherwise the cake will not be a cake. So how can I express with the use of keywords or transitions that logical order? I say first, second. If I have so many steps, I will not say first and next. I will say first, second, third. If I have so many, but if I don't, I will say next, finally, right. If I want to show an order of priority, which is different from logical order, it has to do with it. It's an order of priority. When I advise you on studying for that course, a high priority goes for attending your lectures. Second priority, or second in importance, goes for experimenting with the essay writing. You write yourself. It's not a theoretical course, it's an application course, i.e. you have to write in order to see how far is your writing improving, صح? So I highlight, I flag the importance by saying first top priority, second in priority, or second in importance, right? So also coherence has to do with linking ideas with these different types of logical of transitions. Eventually it leads to the overall unity of the essay. فاهمين? Do you understand? At the sentence level, coherence has to do with linking your sentences through the use of different transitions and flag or keywords, صح? Based on the relation. انتوا نمتوا؟ Seems so? But we'll take a break in 5 minutes, okay? Something that has to do with the shift of pronouns. يعني انت بادئ sentence with he, and all of a sudden I found the they or them. Pronoun reference spoils your coherence as well as parallel structure. We'll see that. يعني ايه parallel structure? I ate an apple, comma. I ate, forget about this example. I like to swim, comma, playing football. And playing. غلط. This is not the mistake. I like to swim. That's what we call parallel structure. You use to plus infinitive, carry that until the end. Yeah. If you said I like swimming, the next type of sport has to be in ing. So many of us forget about that, and all of a sudden I get surprised. If إيه اللي حصل? All of a sudden, إما 2 plus infinitive. Achieve what? Coherence in an essay. Can you enumerate them? Using transition. Pronouns. You have to pronounce consistency, logical order, and prioritizing, and having forms. Okay? But if you start with an ing form, which is the generic form, continue, or 2 plus infinitive continue, right? Take exercises on that, but I'll be very 16, exercise 3. 2 out of 3, working pairs. Do we all agree? Yes. Okay, number 3. Do we all agree? Yes. Approved. Let's turn to exercise 4, the next page, page 16. He's asking you to use valid transition words, right? Use insert, insert. Any of the suggested transition words in these sentences. I want you to do 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 only on exercise 4. Page 16, exercise 4, do number 4, 5, and 6. Are you done then? Okay. We're to use, for example, in number 5, in contrast. In number 6, previously, right? Okay, approved. Let's go to exercise 5, page 17. I like our pace. Ordering of ideas, the logical order of ideas, okay? I want you to do number B. Exercise 5, page 17, number B. To this. If you want to learn Spanish, remember he provided you with 3 ways to improve or to practice the language, right? You are late to practice the language, right? Now I need to give a priority or to arrange the 3 practices according to a priority, right? So he tells you, if you want to learn Spanish, the first most important, I can say the first most important, the first most important thing is to take a Spanish class, أول حاجة. The second in importance, or the second in priority, or the second in importance is to practice speaking Spanish with friends. Last or least of importance, least of priority, all these lead to the same meaning, صح? Yes. Yes. Final, last priority goes to visiting a Spanish-speaking country. All these give the same meanings or order of priority, right? Now we go to another last, the 2 exercises that have to do with pronoun consistency and pattern structure. That's an easy exercise on page 18, exercise 6. Choose from the brackets the pronoun that fits the consistency of pronoun reference. Exercise 6, the paragraph provided on exercise 6, page 18. Okay, what's the meaning of editing? يعني ايه editing? To have a second eye on the draft or the piece of writing you came up with in order to free it from any type of error or mistake, right? This means that it is a must that after writing or producing my essay, I should have a second eye on it to produce an error-free draft, okay? This means that from now on, it's not permitted anymore to submit your essay once you come up with. صح? Okay. That's what we call pronoun reference. The first one, I told Mama that I was looking forward to seeing him. She or he?
She.
This or I?
Yes.
They or he?
They.
We or I?
We.
Us or we?
Us.
They or she?
They.
Us or it?
Us.
Past. Great. Let's check you in the following exercise, which has to do with pattern forms. Apparently, it's very easy to pinpoint the mistake in an exercise, but I can never pinpoint the mistake in what I produced. Do you know why? And why is this discrepancy? When I give you another piece of writing produced by another colleague, you're so critical. Even the correct things, you make them incorrect. You identify them as incorrect. Why that? Why don't I feel that there's something wrong, anything wrong with my piece of writing while I'm so critical with other people's pieces of writing? Why?
Mostly I make errors, not mistakes.
Because I am perfect. I never make mistakes or commit an error. And we need really to work on that. I really need to see what did I make wrong, okay? Let's move on to the exercise on pattern structure that really helps in writing a coherent piece of writing that really helps the unity of my essay, صح? Okay. I want you to do number 3 and 4 on exercise 7. 3 and 4 exercise 7, page 19. Three and 4 exercise 7, page 19. Yeah, what is meant by keeping parallel structure? You know the comma? What's the benefit of a comma in English? يعني إيه comma? It's a pause, يعني إيه pause? Yes, I know. You stop for a while, for a very short while. Still, I need an identification of, I need a definition for the word comma. A comma is a natural pause. You will find yourself naturally taking your breath. Listen to me saying this sentence, and it is a natural thing. I ate an apple, an orange, a loaf of bread, and I had some coffee. Did you feel the pauses?
Yeah.
I really seriously, I did not pause deliberately, but you find yourself, in order to communicate the meaning, pausing. And that's what we call a comma. A comma is a natural breath. You take a breath, okay? And it is crystal clear when you are enumerating. صح? And when you are using parallel structure, there's some sort of mentioning so many items or processes or activities, صح? And when you want to separate these activities and take a pause or take a natural breath, you use a comma. That's why they are telling you they are parallel structure. The same measure. Even in terms of the grammatical use. 2 plus infinitive remains 2 plus infinitive. Gerund remains a gerund, right? Number 3, what's wrong? Learning. صح? Where is it?
Authors.
And author are learning about historical events. Perfect. Number 4, became. It should be become. Even the consistency in the verb tense that I use. Are we ready for an extra portion of grammar? Yes. Yes.
When you took it in a sentence that has clauses, and then there's an and at the end, finishing the sentence.
Yes. When you are enumerating so many items, like an orange, a loaf of bread, and I had a cup of coffee.
Yes, but why do you have to add a comma before the and? Like,
And a comma before the and, yes.
isn't that wrong?
Yeah, there's no comma before the and.
In the sentence.
The comma disappears because I replace it with an and.
Yeah, but here, the
It's
sentence.
there, صح?
Yeah.
Yes, I know. So, and I myself, I delete the comma because it's replaced by an and, okay? Let's let's be consistent and keep the same example provided by the book, right? Are we ready for another portion of grammar? Yes? No? Fine. Can we يعني change your places? They say when you change your place, you change your perspective. And I want the people who are sitting at the back to come at the front, exchange your place. Last thing. But it's a very critical thing and I need you fresh. Yalla, a minute, move on. Whatsoever the difference between, listen, a main clause and a dependent clause or a subordinate clause. Aslan. I don't know the difference between a clause and a sentence. What is the difference? Let's start with the difference between a clause and a sentence. Do you know the difference? A clause can stand on its own and be a sentence because it has a verb and it communicates a complete idea. I slept early yesterday. It communicates one single idea and it has a verb. صح? Okay? When I was asleep. That's a clause and a sentence because it's a main clause. يعني ايه main clause? It has a verb, of course, and it communicates a specific, complete idea like I slept early yesterday. But when you come up with a sentence, when I was asleep yesterday, you feel yourself like, there's something missing. So this dependent clause cannot stand by all means on its own. That we started a new day. Cannot stand on its own by any means. I need another completion. صح? That's the main difference between a main clause or dependent clause. Another word for dependent clause and subordinate. Do you know the meaning of the word subordinate in English? يعني ايه subordinate? A boss or a manager has his own subordinate. يعني ايه subordinate? No, less in rank. Hierarchy, they are not in a less in rank. And they depend on him. Because he's the main boss. As this the main sentence, right? So the main sentence, identify the main sentence in the two. Of the two, where in that example, where's the main sentence? By the way, don't be tricked by the length. صح? The main sentence could be the shortest, not the longest. The condition to judge whether this is a main sentence or not is that it can stand on its own and be a sentence because it communicates a full meaning. Which of them does that? The room was empty? Or when I came into the auditorium, the room was empty. You see, it's the shortest. Still, it has the subject and the verb and it communicates a sealed idea. صح? How about the first one? When I came into the auditorium, it's a dependent or a subordinate clause. Because it has to be part of a sentence. In sentence دي فيها a main clause that is related in meaning to it. When I came into the auditorium, the room was empty, or the light was off, or the AC was on, anything, right? The thing is, any sentence that starts with the subordinate conjunction like when, after, before I came to the auditorium. the auditorium. When I came to the auditorium. While I was walking to the auditorium. صح؟ All these are examples of subordinating. Subordinating. بصوا subordinating يعني it has to depend on another main clause to communicate the meaning, right? What is that in the middle? A comma. Let's check. The room was empty when I came into the auditorium, correct or not? Should I place a comma? So when the main clause is starting the sentence, the comma disappears. But when the subordinate clause starts the sentence, the comma is inserted. Let's take an exercise on that. Can you see the difference? Like, which of them is a complete sentence? Which of them is a complete sentence? The main clause. Because it can stand on its own. I can say the room was empty. I slept early yesterday. They all came. As simple as that. We communicate simple, complete meaning. I promise this will be the last thing we do. Let's go to exercise 1 page 20. Exercise 1 page 20. He is saying, look at this because it's a bit tricky. Underline the dependent clause. هحط underline. And circle. And I add it on my part. Tell me where did the comma go. If the comma goes or the comma is inserted, why? Give me a reason. Why is the comma available or why did the comma disappear? Alright? You have 3 minutes. I advise you work in pairs. Please work in pairs. It's a tricky thing. 2 brains are better than 1. Work in pairs. Yalla. Underline the dependent or the subordinate and circle the main. Are you? Okay. Is your or are your answers in a way similar to that? Yes? Remember that we are circling the main clause. We are circling the main clause. يعني ايه main clause? The one that communicates a complete meaning. صح? And it answers a question. I don't have to pause and say, what happened when I came in? ايه اللي حصل when you came in? When I was walking in the corridor, before the lecture, what happened? The main clause always has an answer for this, okay? Now let's see. I will not feel bad if your answers are not that accurate. I know it's a bit tricky. I feel very confident. Main clause, صح? It can stand in its own, صح? Because I had spent a long time practicing. Let's shift. Because I had spent a long time practicing. What happened? Tell us. صح? Kama, I felt so confident or very confident. The sentence that included both the main clause and the subordinate or the dependent. You know the meaning of dependent? It started with the main clause, صح? Where's the comma? Ali? Because it started with the main clause, it disappeared. The comma disappears. If I shift the order and I start with the subordinate one, the comma has to be li, because the main clause gives me the answer. The second one, since it was my graduation, I wrote a beautiful new outfit. Which one is the main? And it can stand on its own. The third, although the ceremony was very long and I need to add the subordinate dependent. I need to answer this question. Nobody was bored. It can stand on its own side. Check the order when it was born. The compliment. Thank you very much. We went on for 15 in conclusion, in short, to sum up, in summary, right? Okay? And it recaps the main ideas. And it passes on several types of advice, warning, opinion, insight, redaction, right? Okay. Then we moved on to unity, to tips of writing, and it has to do, I told you unit 1 is very important, and it is the pillar, because these are the principles that we are using for editing our essay. We talked about unity. Define unity. Define. Define.
Lesson talks about main idea.
Give it to her.
When the essay talks about a main idea, a specific idea,
that relates to one another.
Yeah.
Which comes first? Coherence leads to unity, or unity leads to coherence? Define coherence.
I don't know.
Pass it on to somebody who knows about coherence. I am not happy. Take the microphone and talk.
All the ideas fit together.
يا راجل unity ولا coherence? Coherence and how put together يعني key 2 kilos and the other one is still 2 kilos. How do they fit? Through the use of what? Transitions. Use the microphone.
The transition sentence.
And logical order and order of priority and parallel structure. Have the microphone. Thank you. Anything else? What else?
Ordering.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Ordering ideas for coherence.
Yes?
Like,
And I just need to be clear on one thing. Which leads to the other? Coherence leads to unity, or unity leads to coherence? Huh? Coherence. I agree. Thank you. What else did we discuss? The last thing is there. Thank you. Who can talk about the main clause and the subordinate clause with passion and with power, كده? And give us a difference. You're up to it. Yalla, go ahead. Yalla.
The main clause and the main clause. The main clause contains the idea, the main idea, and it's complete sentence.
It is a complete sentence and it can stand on its own. Bravo عليك. Why?
The dependent clause.
Another name for a dependent. لا. Follow my pace. Sorry. Another word for a dependent clause is a subordinate clause. صح؟ محتاجة إيه؟ محتاجة إيه؟
Relative clause.
Yeah. محتاجة a main clause to lean on. Yes. How do we connect them together?
The comma.
Okay, قبل subordinate clause we need words like after, before.
Why?
Like he's answering why, when,
Why?
yet,
When? Which?
since, right? All this tells you that we need an answer, and this answer is provided by the main clause. One last question. If I start with the main clause, does the comma stay or disappear?
The main clause in first. It's okay.
It disappears. Bravo! Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Don't leave. Thank you. So at home, as an assignment. Part 5, it wraps up all what we discussed. Go home today and revise the unit. The unit is very important. Do part 5 that starts on page 26 and runs up to page 30. Thank you very much. For next time, there's still a part that we did not cover, but I am talking, by the way. There's still a part, but it would have been very confusing if I give it to you. That's too much info at one shot. We just need to, I am talking. We just need to cover run-on sentences and fragmented sentences. And this is something that we will cover at the beginning of our next class. you'll find this part at the very end, before part 5. So prepare it and prepare all of unit 2. That's the first type of essay that we are studying together. When you prepare something and at home you come here to the class with an idea about what we're going to discuss, and I think some of you, those of you who prepared the course that I asked you to prepare, came today with that relaxed attitude. I know, right?
Yeah.
So please prepare. Unit 2. Just learn about the first type of essay. That's what we call process analysis essay that we are discussing for the second time. The book is wonderful, really, seriously, okay? That's the last thing I want from you, because I will need to take